Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm going to be going over my official 2021-2022 NBA war predictions. I'm going to be going over who I think my MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Executive of the Year, Coach of the Year, Most Improved Player, and Defensive Player of the Year, as well as way too early finals predictions, as well as my conference standings. I'm going to be going over all that in this video, so stay tuned. If you enjoy the video, leave it a like, and yeah, let's hop right into this. So my pick for the 2022 MVP for the season is Paul George. Now, if you've watched my videos, you've known that I've had Paul George as my dark horse MVP for next season. He put up 23, 6, and 5 this past year in LA, and that was alongside Kawhi Leonard. And this upcoming season, with Kawhi Leonard most likely being out for majority of the season, we're going to have a chance to see kind of what he was like in OKC a few years back when he was top 5 in MVP voting as well as top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Obviously, there's no Russell Westbrook on this Clippers team, but I think with a lot deeper of a team with guys like Reggie Jackson, Zubac, Terrence Mann, there's a bunch of other pieces that Paul George can also facilitate as well as get shots up for himself. And I don't think he's going to be scared of a single shot this year. And I think if the Clippers do make the playoffs as a top, if the Clippers just make the playoffs, period, I don't see a situation where Paul George is not in the MVP voting, and I think they're going to get a lot of recognition, obviously being a team in LA. So I think Paul George, the media recognition will be there, and I think he's going to put up good numbers on good efficiency, carry his team to the playoffs. So there's no doubt in my mind that Paul George won't be an MVP candidate. Now, obviously, the two other guys that I have here, second place I have Kevin Durant, just because I think Brooklyn's going to be really good. He's going to lead that team in scoring, and he's one of the best players in the NBA. And then third place, I have Luka Doncic. I think the Mavericks are going to be pretty good. Luka Doncic just going to go on a tear. Statistically wise, I see him averaging close to a triple-double, probably 30 points a game, probably 8 or so rebounds a game, 10 or so assists with Kristaps, and they got a couple other guys. They got the Dallas Knicks right now. So, yeah. Paul George, I think, it's a sleeper pick, but I could definitely see it happening. A couple other honorable mentions, guys like Steph Curry. LeBron James is obviously always going to be in there, but hey, lock it in right now. I think Paul George is going to be your 2022 NBA MVP. So for my Rookie of the Year predictions, I have Jalen Green winning the 2022 NBA Rookie of the Year. Now, obviously, it was between a bunch of guys. There's a great talent in this year's past draft class with Cunningham, Jalen Suggs, Evan Mobley, my boy Josh Giddey. But I think Jalen Green has the most potential to really score the most points, as well as kind of have the most stylish sort of. And I know that doesn't really play a huge part, but obviously we know LaMelo Ball last year, he was just a more praised guy on social media. Everyone loved just seeing LaMelo Ball, LaMelo Ball, LaMelo Ball. Not that Anthony Edwards wasn't good at anything, but I think I think that Jalen Green has kind of more of that flashy style. And I also think in a team like Houston, where he's going to be probably the number one scoring option, if not Kevin Porter Jr., Green could definitely put up 20 points per game in his rookie season. Not that Cade Cunningham or anybody else can't, but I think Jalen Green is just going to have that green light in every single night. He's not going to be afraid to take a shot. And Jalen Green, he's a pure scorer. He's a scorer. He's a slasher. He's not really good passing or defensive side of things yet, but he's a rookie. He hasn't even played a single NBA minute yet, so I'm not too worried about that. I think he will develop that over his career. Second place, I did have Cade Cunningham, obviously. He's probably the best. He is the best player in this draft class. I think he's going to do really well in Detroit. I just think that Jalen Green's going to have better statistical numbers, and that's really what it boils down to. Unless you're a rookie that carries your team to the playoffs in their first season, which rarely happens, it's just statistic numbers, really. Whoever has the better stats usually will win it, as long as injuries aren't a big factor in it. Obviously, we did see Zion Williamson would put it up the best numbers, but John Moran won it just because Zion was hurt. Or last year, Anthony Edwards might have scored a little bit more points per game, but LaMelo Ball had the bigger impact. LaMelo Ball put up pretty much better numbers in every other category. And then third place, I have Jalen Suggs of the Orlando Magic. Similar situation to where Houston and Jalen Green coming from. I think Suggs is going to just have a huge opportunity down in Orlando. They're going to be a very mediocre team, and they're just going to give him the green light every single night. And I think Suggs could really take advantage of that, put up some good statistical numbers. He will pass the ball a lot better than probably Jalen Green, but Cade Cunningham, I think, is going to be one of the best passers in this draft class. Obviously, Josh Giddey's up there. He just had a tremendous first preseason game. He looked like one of the best passers in this draft. So I think it's really up for question who this Rookie of the Year is going to be, but my pick is going to go to Jalen Green of the G League. He did well in the G League. He put up about 18 points a game, a couple rebounds, a couple assists. He wasn't super efficient, but I think he will step up his efficiency. It's not going to be amazing again because he's probably going to be taking a lot of shots this season. But yeah, Jalen Green, mark my words, is going to be the 2022 NBA Rookie of the Year. So my pick for the 2022 NBA Defensive Player of the Year award goes to Anthony Davis of the Los Angeles Lakers. Over the past however long he's been in the league, like 7 or 8 years, he's been one of the best big man defenders, averaging pretty much about 2.5 blocks a game over his entire NBA career, and I think he could carry that into the upcoming season. Obviously, major additions of guys like Russell Westbrook and huge depth pieces. This really gives Anthony Davis the ability to really just lock down the center position and lock down the paint, because if he could just get those stops on the defensive end, which I do think he will be able to do. I think he's the second best defensive guy in the NBA besides Rudy Gobert when it comes to meeting players at the rim and just attacking players when they're coming at him on the defensive side of things. Anthony Davis is pretty much the best guy besides Rudy Gobert. Now, second place, I do have Draymond Green, more for the defensive ability out on the perimeter and the defensive impact. Now, Draymond Green's never been a guy that shows up every single night in the box score, but you really have to watch Golden State Warrior games to really see how good of a defender Draymond Green is. He's a good shot blocker. He's a good ball steal guy. He plays amazing defense, but you can't tell necessarily by the box score. And that's a lot of guys in the league. Lou Dort was one of the best defenders on ball last season, but that's not going to show up really in the box score. He's not going to average a lot of steals, a lot of blocks. It's more just that impact he provides on the defensive side of things. And then third place, I have Giannis. For easy reasons, similar to Anthony Davis, I think he's going to put good counting numbers up. But when it comes to just voter fatigue, again, I don't see them necessarily giving it to Giannis. Same with Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy Gobert's going to put up similar numbers to what he's done in the past. But voter fatigue is the thing, which sucks, honestly, because Gobert could average 3 blocks a game next season, and everyone's just gonna be, he's already won it, 3, so. But yeah, I think Anthony Davis is gonna have a tremendous season next year on the defensive side of things. I think Anthony Davis, period, is gonna have a tremendous impact on the Lakers next season. I think he's gonna lead that team in scoring next year, as well as rebounding. And Westbrook, I wonder who's gonna win the battle of assists next year, Westbrook or LeBron. That's gonna be interesting to see. But that's completely off topic. Anyway, yeah, I have Anthony Davis winning the 2022 Defensive Player of the Year. So my pick for the 2022 NBA Sixth Man of the Year goes to Patty Mills of the new Brooklyn Nets. Mills looked tremendous this year in the Olympics. He was really just torching every single team he was going up against. Even though Australia wasn't super successful, Patty Mills was just a stud. And I think him coming off the bench in Brooklyn is going to be tremendous for them. Even if he could just put up 10 points a game, that'll be huge. He put up 11 a game last season, give or take, in San Antonio, and I think he could carry that over to Brooklyn and provide another insane score to come off that bench and provide the second unit. Really someone that could just shot create and get a great look either from the mid-range, from the three-point line, and we know he's capable of doing that, and I'm really hoping that Brooklyn can get that version of Patty Mills this upcoming season, and just having another amazing score behind Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden on that second unit's absurd. Brooklyn is going to be very good, and I think having a good record and having a good six-man is really going to help the voters kind of just give him that recognition that he deserves. Brooklyn obviously is going to be on national TV a lot, so the fans are going to be able to really see how good Patty Mills is in a Brooklyn Nets uniform. Second place guy I have is Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma is going to really prove a lot of people wrong this upcoming season in Washington. He's going to kind of have his own role for once, and I think that was the problem in LA is Kuzma never really had a defined role, and I think his role in Washington is just going to be score the ball on the bench. That's all you got to do. I think he's going to lead the NBA in points per game off the bench, right around 15 or so, because Kuzma has the skill. We all know Kuzma has the skill. He's not super efficient with it, but I think he will step up his efficiency on that team, and if Kuzma really provides a spark to that Washington second unit, I think that he can finish high in the Sixth Man of the Year award, but I still want to give it to Patty Mills. In third place, I have Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is a stud. He's super underrated. We saw what he did in the first preseason game, and I made this list before that game even happened, so it kind of made me feel a little bit better about it. But coming off the bench and just really being able to score behind Steph Curry and Klay Thompson is going to be huge for them, and I think that's going to be a huge key to their team. We all know what that starting five can do, but it all boils down to if they could get this defensive stops and if their second unit can kind of help out their starters by just providing a 5-6 minute spark for them. Wow. All right, so my video ended, but yeah, Patty Mills is going to be the Sixth Man of the Year next season. So for my most improved player for next season, it's really a lock, and I don't think anybody else is going to come close to this guy, and that is Michael Porter Jr. of the Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray's absence is going to be huge for a guy like Porter Jr., who's going to be the secondary star next to Nikola Jokic. He just got a bag during the offseason, and he really needs to prove a lot of people wrong because he hasn't been amazing yet in his NBA career. Obviously, he has been dealing with injuries, but I think with Jamal Murray being out and having a guy like Nikola Jokic to really just spoon-feed him the ball 82 games this season, he's going to be insane. I could see him jumping up to 25 points a game. Jokic is going to be putting up 25 a game. And really the key to me for Porter Jr.'s most improved player odds are just efficiency. Can he do it every single night? Can he provide an impact to this Nuggets team? Like, anyone could put up 25 points a game in the NBA if they wanted to, drawing 10 fouls, making 3 layups, and then 3. I don't know if that's the right math, but you get what I'm saying. But if he could provide an impactful 25 a game this next season, as well as a few assists, a few blocks, a few steals, and shooting it efficiently, that's what matters. And I don't think they're just going to give it to whoever has the most statistical improvement. It's more on the impact ability. Can Michael Porter Jr. have that big impact for the Nuggets this season? Can the Nuggets be another top seed out in the Western Conference for Jamal Murray when he's out? I think it can happen, and I think it's kind of a lock. I don't see anyone taking this spot from him. Second place, I do have Nickeil Alexander-Walker of the Pelicans. He's going to be in that starting role. He looked great in all of his training camp videos during this offseason in the open runs against NBA studs. I think Nickeil is just going to have the green light next to Zion and Brandon Ingram. I think he's going to be that third scoring option on the team. He's super crafty. He kind of just plays at his own pace. And then my third pick for the most improved, I actually have a guy that not a lot of people are probably going to, he's going to fly under the radar, but that is Tyrese Maxey. Maxey is probably going to be the starting point guard with Ben Simmons just not wanting to play in Philadelphia anymore. And before he gets traded, I think that Tyrese Maxey is just going to be hooping. And they're just going to be like, hey, Ben Simmons, you're gone. I want this guy Tyrese Maxey just to hoop. And we saw what he could do in the playoffs and late in the regular season. He'll be coming off the bench. He was putting up 50. He was putting up 30. He was hooping. And I'm really excited to see what Tyrese Maxey could do next season for the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't think he's the best facilitator for a point guard position, but just being able to score the ball like that, especially next to Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris, that's huge for the Sixers. And my expectations for them aren't super high, but I think Tyrese Maxey can really play well for the Sixers next season. We have Michael Porter Jr. is my pick for the 2022 Most Improved Player. Okay, so now I have the Coach of the Year and probably a Okay, so next up, I have the Coach of the Year prediction, and I'm going to go with the Indiana Pacers head coach, Rick Carlisle. He's going to be brand new to this system, but I think the Pacers on paper are going to be super good. They have a bunch of really, really good NBA players. Karis LeVert, Domantas Sabonis, Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon. They have so many good NBA players. TJ Warren, TJ McConnell. This team is good, and I think now having a brand new coach in Rick Carlisle, he's an amazing offensive coach. He can really, really help turn this Pacers team around. I think the Pacers will be a good playoff team next season. As long as no injuries really happen, shout out to Maximilian for this huge subscribe thing on my screen. But anyway, I think the Pacers are going to be super good. They're going to fly under a bunch of people's radars. The Pacers always start out either really good or just really bad, but eventually just kind of prove to the NBA who they really are. And I think the Pacers next season are just going to be cruising along the 6 to 5 to 8 and 9 out in the Eastern Conference, and they're going to surprise a lot of people. And I know for a fact that's going to happen, bearing any huge injuries. Like, obviously, like, Miles Turner just seems to always be getting hurt. Sabonis is out for like 2 weeks here and there. Malcolm Brogdon just like tears something in his finger and is out for like a month. Like, as long as none of those huge injuries happen, I think the Pacers are going to be a good team. Not a lot of people are going to be watching Indiana games this season, except for me, because I love basketball and I watch pretty much every single team every single night, because that's just what I like to do. But yeah, and then second place and third place are a bit boring. I really just have the two best teams. I think the guys like Steve Nash is going to do a good job in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's going to win a lot of games. Easier said than done, obviously, but I mean, it's hard to lose probably more than 25 games for Brooklyn next year. And the same thing really goes with Frank Vogel. Honestly, the Lakers are going to be great. They have great players, which means they're going to most likely win a lot of games. Obviously, Steve Nash and Frank Vogel don't really have to do a lot because they have LeBron James and then or Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. But yeah, Rick Carlisle, mark my word, he's going to win Coach of the Year next season. Okay, so basically for these last two parts, I'm going to be going over my conference standings. So I'm going to start out with the Western Conference standings. Then I'm going to go over to the East. I'm not going to really give too much insight. I'm going to talk about each team for like 5 seconds. Also, for this entire video, of like, if I have someone that you don't have in your, say, predictions, like, that's not a reason to drop a dislike. You can let me know in the comments, like, what you think, but, like, it just doesn't make sense to hate on me because I have the Celtics at, say, 5 when they end up at 6, and whoever I have at 6 ends up at 5, like, vice versa. Like, it's stupid stuff. I'm expecting this video to get a lot of dislikes, or just none at all, or no likes at all, because I don't get a lot of likes. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, leave it a like. Anyway, at the number 1 seed, I have the Los Angeles Lakers. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. They added Russell Westbrook on top of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They have a great bench. They have great scores around those big 3 guys. I like the new name 360, by the way. So I have the Lakers in at the number 1 seed. 2 seed, I have the Jazz. They're going to be great on the defensive side of things again. Donovan Mitchell is going to play great. Mike Conley is getting old, but I think he's still can have a big impact on the team. Rudy Gobert, obviously one of the biggest impact players in the entire NBA. 3 seed out of the Phoenix Suns. They were just in the NBA Finals. Golden State Warriors, I have at number 4. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson are going to be back for 82 games this season. They added Otto Porter Jr. They added Draymond Green still there. Iguodala's there. Healthy James Wiseman, hopefully. 5th seed, I have the Denver Nuggets, and that is without Jamal Murray. I think Nikola Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. are going to have big impacts on that team. 6th seed, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. Paul George is going to carry that team to the 6th seed and win MVP. 7th seed, I have the Portland Trailblazers. Obviously, all this, by the way, is before the season starts, so this is before any trades. Like, Ben Simmons has not been traded yet. Damian Lillard, if he were to get traded, this could obviously make a big impact. 8th seed, I have the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic and Porzingis are going to play great, but the Western Conference is just loaded. 9th seed, play-in. So these are all play-in teams. I have the 9th seeded Pelicans. Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Devontae Graham. Now, obviously, like, so this is end of regular season. So, like, going into the play-in, like, I have the Pelicans at 9. They can end up being the 8th seed, like, if they somehow win the play-in tournament and all that, and, like, the Mavericks, like, fall out or something. 10th seed, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. I think, again, they haven't made too many big improvements. If anything, I do think they got a little bit worse trading off Valanciunas. So, I think that 10th seed's a good spot for them. John Morant's going to play well. Jaren Jackson Jr., I'm going to be excited to see him play once again. 11th seed, I have the Sacramento Kings. 12th seed, I skipped someone. I have 2 Kings. So I'm supposed to have the Kings at 11. Whoever's at 12 is the Timberwolves. 12 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves are going to actually play a lot better than they did last season. I think they're actually going to try to compete instead of tanking this season. I'm really excited to watch Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns again. 13th seed, I have the San Antonio Spurs. They're tanking, but Greg Popovich isn't going to want them to tank, which is going to hurt them in a big way. 14th seed, I have the Houston Rockets. Very young team. They're going to be exciting to watch with all their rookies and young players. Same goes for OKC, who I have at 15, finishing dead last in the Western Conference. Shea, just please play 82 games this season. Don't, Mark Daigneault, please don't sit him. Anyway, now let's move on to the Eastern Conference standings. Same basically goes for kind of these guys. Like, it's a lot of stuff's interchangeable, and this is obviously at the end of regular season before the play-in tournament occurs. I have the number 1 seeded Bucks and the 2 seed Nets. Now, my reasoning is obviously the Bucks just came off an NBA championship, and they've always been a good regular season team. And the reason why I have the Nets at 2 is because I think, yes, they are the better team, but there's going to be nights where they may play only Kevin Durant and James Harden, or they're going to do a lot of load management because they don't want what happened last year to happen again. I think they just want to be fully healthy, fully prepared for the playoffs come March or April, whenever they're going to be this upcoming season. 3 seed, I have the Miami Heat, obviously adding Kyle Lowry. Victor Oladipo is actually going to be playing for them this season. 4 seed, I have the Atlanta Hawks. They're just in the conference finals. I think that team is only getting better since they're very young, and they already have some great talent. Trae Young, John Collins, Clint Capella, etc. 5th seed, I have the Boston Celtics. Dennis Schroeder is there. Jason Tatum's getting better. Jaylen Brown's getting better. I love Robert Williams, Marcus Smart, Peyton Pritchard. 6th seed, I have the Chicago Bulls. DeBalzak, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Vucevic, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso. They won by like 50 points last night, or they were up by 50 points at one point last night against the Cleveland Cavaliers. 7th seed, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, I would have them higher if they were to have Ben Simmons, or if some sort of trade has occurred that would make them a higher seed than what they are. But I think with just Joel Embiid and just Tobias Harris, it's really tough to put them above some of these other teams that are a lot more well-rounded. 8th seed, I have the Indiana Pacers. Like I was saying earlier, they're going to have Coach of the Year in Rick Carlisle, and I think they're really going to outperform a lot of people's expectations. 9th seed, I have the New York Knicks. I know they dropped, but I just think the Eastern Conference is really good. I think they're still going to be a good team and will probably win the play-in. Like, I still think that the Knicks are better than the Pacers and probably the Sixers going into next season, but I just think in terms of how well, it's going to take a lot of those guys probably a bit of time. Like, I don't think Kemba Walker's going to play tremendous the second he gets there. I don't think Fournier's going to fit in right away. So it's going to be tough. And also, like, Tibbs likes to run a lot of defensive rotations, and Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier are not the best defenders. 10 seed, I have the Washington Wizards. I think Bradley Beal, he's going to be hooping again. They have a deep team. I really actually do like the Washington Wizards next year. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. The Hornets are coming in at 11. Young team. I think if Gordon Hayward stays healthy, they're going to be a competitive team. It's just the NBA is going to be very competitive next season. That's for sure. 12 seed, I have the Raptors. They didn't do much. They lost one of their best players in Kyle Lowry. They got Scotty Barnes, who looked tremendous. Cleveland Cavaliers at 13. Detroit Pistons at 14, and the Orlando Magic at 15. Basically, those last 3 teams, they're all going to be bad with a couple young, good players that I'm expected to see big improvements on their team, like Colin Sexton, like Cade Cunningham, Jeremy Grant, Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz, like that. But yeah, those are my conference standings. And last up, but not least, certainly, my finals prediction. You heard it here first. It's pretty bold. Like, I don't think anyone's ever said this before. I think the Lakers are going to end up playing the Nets. Obviously, I'm kidding. That's sarcasm. I think the Lakers-Nets is basically what everyone has. But I do have a bit of a surprise. I think the Lakers are going to win that series in 7 games, and Anthony Davis is going to be your finals MVP. I think he's going to have a great defensive ability. That's why I have him as defensive player of the year. And he's going to average a ton of points. Obviously, LeBron James next to Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook, and then Carmelo Anthony, and then they got Wayne Ellington, and they got a bunch of studs. Trevor Ariza, Dwight Howard, whatever. They're going to be great. So, yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. And, yeah, this is about to be 2 days in a row, I think. Hopefully, I mean, it's 9 o'clock as I'm recording. Hopefully, I can get this edited and uploaded on the 6th. But, yeah, if you enjoyed the video, leave it a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.